Good evening. So while myself and Thomas is still setting up our recording studio, because remember the aim or the plan is that we will have an interview type situation where we will both be simultaneously on the screen, but he lives in Makanda, previously known as Grahamstown, and obviously I live in Gordons Bay, so there's some logistical efforts that needs to be overcome, or problems, or logistical issues. Let's call it logistical issues. But I thought, let me just give you a small appetizer of what we are thinking of. So let's take the situation of the army. Myself and Thomas, we both studied, well, up to a certain point at least, before we went to the army. We went in August 1987, and there were 5 guys from the Council for Jewish Science, and we all went to the same camp, which was personnel, the personnel corps in Voortrekker Hoogte, which used to be Roberts Heights, and I think it might have a new name now, but I can't keep up. But anyway, so it was myself and Thomas Stone, Willem Smits, Dani Grobler, and Rian Boters. As I mentioned, in the beginning, you just pick your own bungalow. So we were all in the same bungalow right in the beginning. And I remember our corporal was Corporal Bean. And he turned 18 a couple of weeks into our take-up. And now you must remember, all of us were in the sort of the age range of 24 or so. Some had children, some didn't have children yet, but we were not so young anymore, and had a bit of a problem adapting to this youngster chasing us around. But so here's one of the funnies that I want to point out, and that is that Casper de Vries was in the army the same time as me. And if I remember correctly, so was Ralph Rabi, otherwise known as Johannes Kerkorrel. And I think Charles van Heiningen was there, but it doesn't matter. What I remember is that for the first 2 or 3 weeks, Casper had to wear his own shoes. Why? Because the army didn't have size 3 boots to give to him. They had to make size 3 boots for him. The other funny thing is, after we got sorted into our various bungalows, and that was done based on our classification, as mentioned, G1, K1 was basically you are good for anything, and they're going to use you up. Then there were, if I remember correctly, I was G4, K2, which was just slightly above that. I was still warm, but that was it. But then there was the group called G4, K4, which were basically not allowed to do anything. But the funny thing about the G4, K4s is they all, in the beginning, they didn't even have to stand guard. But of course, the rest of the camp said, this is not how it works. So they were forced to stand guard as well. So, the funny thing, they had to stand guard with broomsticks. We at least had real rifles, and we were even given live ammunition to carry with us. Not load the rifle, but at least carry it with you for in case. Now, I don't exactly know what they were worried about, because number one, for instance, the ammo depot that needs to be guarded or had to be guarded was basically a huge pile of brass spent cartridges. Now, in those days, copper and brass theft was non-existent. And then there was this unique situation. We had to guard the actual parade ground. And that's where I learned one of my tricks. Right at the back of the parade ground, there was a little bench. And I very quickly learned this is the perfect place to stand guard duty. Depending on the situation, guard duty could be anything between 1 hour and 3 hours. But at night, it's the perfect place to be because the RSM, Regiment Sergeant Major, was afraid of the dark. So he would never ever come to that place to check up on you. So many a night, I would be sitting on that bench, and in the next moment somebody would shake me and say, wake up, you have to go to bed now. So this is the kind of stories that we are planning to tell, and I can tell you there's still many more. But these are just quickly ones that came to mind. But we will speak again. See you soon.